Happy Saturday, nonprofits, creators, kings and queens. If nobody told you that you're royalty today, can I tell you that you're royalty, guys? That's all part of that abundance energy. That's what we're talking about today with Coach Austin. You guys have seen him before. He'll be introducing himself again momentarily. He's going to be giving us the business side of abundance. I'm going to be giving the nonprofit side of abundance, guys. A lot of us are feeling some abundant energy. 1.9 trillion with that package just dropping this week. So how can we ride that? How can we continue that? Come on in, guys. Answer this question for me. What is a tip you would give that has increased your abundance? What is a tip you would give that has increased your abundance? I know that all of you guys, if you have been living for some years, you have upped a level in some type of way. You might not be where you want to be, but you've definitely increased your abundance, whether that be through a raise, maybe a second job, maybe a source of income that comes in residually, like some rental property or something of that nature. Give us your tips because this isn't just about us. We want to hear what you guys have been doing, what's been working as well, so we can all come together and work together. What about you, Coach Austin? What's a tip you would give? I know we're about to give tons of them, so so we'll just skip this question we're going to give guys 2 to 3 tips each here. But Coach Austin, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Hey guys, for you guys who don't know me, Coach Sean Austin, CEO of Austin Business Coaching. Love Saturdays with Tracy like this, and I'm a business strategist. 15 years in the game. People hear me, they call me Coach, but Coach came about through just a story of me coaching football players. And one of my clients said, "Well, you teach business like you coach football. You should be called Coach 24/7." And that's where Coach came in. But I'm more of a business strategist. I put the game plan together for you to become abundant in your business. But long-term sustainability, longevity, that's what our game plan is. And there's no reason why you can't be a 6, 7, 8 figure business if that is within your game plan.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've been connected to you, Coach Austin, for almost about a year now, right? Maybe even a little bit more.
I see,
That's
yeah, right.
crazy how
Yeah,
time flies.
it has flown by. Yeah, it's so funny how we started now where we are now. So yeah, a little over a year and things have been going really well. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. And we've done several videos together, guys. You all can look through as well. We've talked about several different things, business planning, just motivation in general when it comes to entrepreneurs, time management. That's another big thing for Coach Austin. But guys, go ahead and add in your tips here, and we will go ahead and get ready to dive right in into our own personal tips. I know for me this year and 2020 was really an abundant year for me. And I know that for a lot of businesses and some nonprofits and individuals, it wasn't necessarily. Would you say the same for your business? Have you all had some growth in the last couple of years in 2021?
For sure. Excuse me. In the
Hmm.
last couple of years, this last year has been crazy. We've
Hmm.
we've jumped up at least 67%. I didn't
Wow.
realize it. I was looking at the numbers just last week, and there's been a major increase, especially going digital. Now
Hmm.
I have to fly here and there and only be the audience that I'm at is not just at that conference or not just here, not just there. So it's digital. So I'm having people being reached overseas in the UK, the islands here in the States, even parts of the United States that would never have heard of me or I of them, or people just in Houston. You know,
Wow.
I'm in Louisiana this weekend, and for a family trip, we have a little bit of business going on too. So you can be reached anywhere in this digital space. So business has increased tremendously, tremendously.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And what I'm hearing you say as well is that you went on ahead and rode that silver lining. One thing that changed, the biggest thing that changed during this pandemic is even though people were already online, it pretty much brought so many more people online. Everyone needed to be online because a lot of the physical things that went on were no longer going on. So a lot of entrepreneurs were able to see that as an opportunity. And I feel like individuals who are able to see opportunities and sink into those opportunities and, okay, what can I do with this, especially opportunities in a negative situation? How do you think you've been able to work that muscle, being able to see the opportunity, even though it may not feel like an opportunity time, like such as the pandemic?
Yeah, it's funny because right before COVID, the pandemic hit the United States, we had clients in Asia. So it was over there. So we said, okay, if this thing keeps growing is going to touch U.S. soil. So what do we do to prepare for it? And
Mm-hmm.
we saw them way ahead of time going, 5G, going digital. How are they operating in that space? We've got to do that now. So we went from a total 180 switch to operating online. And it's one thing to be online, it's another thing to be operating digitally online before Zoom really kicked off into where it was. So seeing the opportunity going through two former recessions with the mortgage crisis
Hmm.
and with the banking crisis, you see certain indicators pop up like, okay, something's going on. There's a shift again. Let's get ahead of the wave so when the wave kicks in, we're good. So last year was heavy, heavy systems, heavy, heavy bringing ourselves in front of people. This is what we do. Where's the need?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the need gonna be going into the future? So having that strategy in place was really good. So now I'm putting systems on top of systems now to answer your question.
Hmm.
Yeah, so now the systems work to get us online, operating online. Now the system is full automation with certain things, teaching these classes like with the SBA programs, being ahead of the curve or right when it's hitting, take a couple days, shut it down, new systems, and go forward so that we can answer the questions or the ills that the entrepreneurs have right now.
So
So,
preparation.
okay.
Preparation is key. Being prepared. One of the tips, and we'll just kind of dive into that. One of the tips that I know I wanted to give was to constantly ask yourself, are you prepared? And good morning. I see you all jumping in here. Good morning. Good morning, Helena. Good morning, Colleen. Good morning, honey. My hubby there. Good morning, Marika. And love to life. But yeah, guys, one of the biggest tips I would give is being prepared. Am I prepared? Am I actually prepared for that grant I want? Am I prepared for that investment? Why should they give it to me? What am I going to do with it when I get it? Do I have a budget? Coach Austin is the king of preparation, guys. We went through a business planning little mini course a little time back, and detailed business plans, keeping you prepared and making sure that you have what you need when that opportunity hits. Because I tell you, if I'm an investor and I'm wanting to invest in a certain area of the community, I was talking about this a little bit last week inside of our nonprofit development group on Facebook, but if I'm somebody who wants to invest in your nonprofit and I'm like, you know what, I really want to give to women coming out of domestic violence situations. I want to give in that area right now because I know that area is actually, unfortunately, increasing as well during this time because a lot of women, don't have those opportunities to get out as they did before. And so if I want to give to this area, who do I want to give to? The people who are impacting right now, who have a connection in that area where those funds are going to be able to flow through. One of the biggest things during this SBA pandemic going on was how do they get funds through stimulus to Americans. They had to create their system on how we can get these funds into businesses as fast as possible so that we can create that impact and create that change. Guess what? You can use some of those same things when it comes to looking for investments and looking for grants. They want to get the funds to the area of the community the fastest. So if you're still planning and processing, I'm going to be like, you know what? You keep planning. Tell me when you're ready. Let's go over here because we're getting this thing done right now. So being prepared, absolutely. I agree 100%. A couple of people added their tips. Let's see. Love to life. Be consistent. Do something every day towards your goals.
Absolutely.
Consistency is the key. That's one. My mom always says that consistency is the key. Absolutely.
So key. It's so key. People don't let that go over your head because there's an accountability challenge I have going on with a few of my clients, and one in particular is kind of just struggling to get to a certain place, but really doing well, but just in a certain area of struggling. So the accountability was for 7 days in a row. I need you to text me at 4:30 in the morning. Hey, coach, I'm up and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do because there's a certain regimen that she was going to follow anyway.
Mm-hmm.
A hard time with it. And like, okay, I'm took all excuses off the table. I'm up at that time, so I need you to text me so I can make sure you up if you're really serious about doing what you're doing. And it has created such a culture, and she didn't believe in power naps, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
get up early, but when you feel sluggish around a certain time, schedule it. If you're in your car, you're out and around, recline the seat, put the phone on whatever, and do a power nap, 15, 20 minutes, and you'll see your body start to accommodate. in a positive
Absolutely.
way to those changes and to that consistency. And so far, it's been going well.
And those small things are huge. You're right. Don't overlook any of those things. It's amazing that you just mentioned that. Number one, about mornings. Getting up in the morning has been finally, because I was not always a morning person.
Yeah.
I feel like I've always been a morning person because it's been years. But for a long time, it was a real struggle for me. But once I finally started to feel that magic, so to speak, of having that time in solitude and prayer and meditation, that time to prepare, what we just talked about, for my family as they rise, what's going on with the kiddos, what's priorities for the day, which we lead back to that doing something every day towards your goals. What are the three main things that you need to accomplish today that's going to push you towards your goals? Once I started feeling how that changed my day, if you do something long enough to get that feeling and really start to feel those benefits, it's over. It no longer, it's a habit now. You're like, I need to wake up early. That's something that now for me is 7 days a week. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, I used to try to take a day off and sleep in. I'm like, I really actually enjoy it. I enjoy getting up and spending that time. So I absolutely agree. And another thing that you mentioned about those breaks, that's something I just recently started implementing, especially on my coaching days when I'm in front of a computer, for a long period of time. Scheduling in at least 15 minutes to get up, walk around, go get some water, use the bathroom, just sometimes it's literally like you're, working and you get in that flow. If you can easily get into that workaholic flow, or if you're real passionate about what you do, sometimes you just forget the small things. And so just putting in those times, taking a nap, taking a power nap, I got to excel to that level. I haven't got there yet, but I'm going to implement that as well, so
People
I love that.
how,
I love that.
if we're talking about abundance, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you create abundance in your business? Abundance can't be created if you're hyper focused on being busy and productive all day. There's a difference between busy and being productive all day and really getting to abundance. You've got to be able to hyper focus your time down, hyper niche your time down. You really can get more done with less.
Less is more.
It is. Now, not to say, and again, I'm at it. Well, Coach, you said sometimes you added 18 hours a day sometimes. And that is very true. I'll have my times, but I may be at it all day. But that 18 hours isn't an everyday thing. It's not an all-time thing. And if it is, something's wrong unless I planned it. Now,
Yeah.
if we're implementing new systems, yes, it'll be 3-4 days in a row, sometimes a week even. And I'm hitting it hard, but there's a reason behind it. I'm building something that takes that much time. So when I come out of it, I can operate in 3-4 hour increments, take a break, do something else, reset my mind,
Mm-hmm.
refresh my body, and attack it again. Just like an athlete, I'm not going to plan. I'll train months for a 100-yard dash or a 200 or a relay or a football game, but the game doesn't last forever, not all the time. But
That's
the
it.
training does, the preparation does. So I'll train months for a minute of time or an hour of time. And that's why
Absolutely.
Brian's as entrepreneurs and business owners have to be. You have to be able to prepare, but you need the forethought of what am I preparing for in the first place?
Hmm.
What am I really setting up for? What am I planning to plan for?
And that's where that meditation time is so important for
Yeah,
you to really understand what your why is.
yeah,
Because if you don't know what your why is, it reads off of whatever your services are, whatever it is you're trying to provide, because
yeah.
people are looking for it. Well, why are they doing this? Because unfortunately and fortunately, there are multiple people who are doing something similar to you, but
Yeah.
not exactly like you. Because of course, we have our own experiences, our own unique spirit experiences, and our own unique energy that we provide. However, people have choices. So what is going to be the difference of them selecting you and your nonprofit and giving to your nonprofit, or selecting your services and someone else, is simply how passionate they feel like you are. How much do they feel like you want to do what you're doing? How fun are you having with the things you're doing? How much are you bringing your gifts? Because I know for me, I don't care if I'm getting a massage, if I'm, getting my something done to my feet. I don't care if someone's doing something. I want the best of the best. I want someone who this is what they love to do.
Right.
Whether it's cooking, I want someone who's passionate about that, and so people will select and they will give to nonprofits, they will purchase your services, but they want to make sure that you are also adding that value, which is another tip we're going to talk about momentarily.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's see what else we have here. Um, Blessings to the contributors. May the gems you give today return tenfold. Thank you, Reggie. He's going to be coming on here soon as well, guys. Write positive abundance or money affirmations on a board or index cards to say throughout the day. Reminders are vital. Absolutely. Sometimes you forget.
True. And it's that positive self-talk,
Hmm.
just like the drugs or medication or herbs that we take for our bodies is what you say or what you visually take in every day can be the detriment or the benefit to you quite often. And like you were speaking on, when it comes to the passion and the drive that you have in business, it's called competitive advantage. So there may be 10 business coaches out there or 10 whomever's out there, 10 nonprofits bidding for a particular grant situation or whatever. What's your competitive advantage? What makes you different in the market? And it can be an ego thing. It has to really be what makes me different, right? So if I'm looking for abundance to come in, am I preparing? Am I studying the market to see who's out there, what's really going on? It takes time to do that. It takes time, and it's hard to pull away from the daily minutia of working to really sit back and put that kind of work in. Like, let me really see what's going on. I'm gonna study Tracy. I'm gonna study so and so, so and so, so and so, to see how do I separate myself from the market. So when people look at everybody else, do they see me here or do they see me up and higher above? And not like I'm better than anybody else. It's not really the case. I mean, you want to think that you are, you want to know that you are, but you got to know what makes me different. If my message is different and it'll resonate with certain people, because people will buy you before they buy anything you're selling.
That's it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what you're
And
about.
be okay with that. Be okay with being who you are. I'm really, really quirky. And and I attract some really quirky people, and I'm okay with it. I enjoy working with my clients. They're always very unique. They always have something amazing that they're about to do for the community. You attract the type of person that you are. So be okay with having all of you, whoever I see that you have your Saints shirt on today, supporting what do they say? What is it?
Who that nation? Yes, indeed.
What's the call for the Saints? What do they say?
Who that nation?
Oh yeah, there it
Yes,
is. Okay.
yes. Got all my black people on.
Absolutely.
Got my
There you go.
here on
Boom.
today.
Yes, yes.
Got all
Add
the
those pieces. Add those pieces because those are what make you who you are and what people are looking for. The reason why you see a commercial and you're like, it's a story and somebody spilled something and somebody's in love and you're like, what is this commercial even about? And then it's paper towel because or whatever. It's just something that you're like, oh, okay, that was a whole story because everyone knows whether it's a big company or whether it's a small company, they know the power of the story, the power of connection. Someone was just saying a big business tip is if they know that if they can get you to feel nostalgic, then they've sold you.
Yeah.
So they know the importance of connecting to the individual. So be okay with connecting with whatever the things are that make you you, because you want to stand out. And it took me a long time to really embrace that.
Yeah.
I was saying a couple of videos ago, even the fact that I say videos sounds like an old word.
Yeah.
8 tracks ago, someone came on a while back and they kept saying podcast. Like, I just love this podcast. And I'm like, I don't think this is a podcast, but okay.
Hey.
Whatever. But I was saying a little while ago that my first website that I built, you know how you use stock photos and things like that? Mm-hmm. I remember building a website and I did a lot of stock photos, and the image that was in most of the stock photos was white, older male. Because at that point in time, years ago, when I was coming into the nonprofit industry and it was nonprofit consultants, that was what it looked like, 90% of the nonprofit consultants. So I really felt like, in order for me to really start to build this business, they have to see what they think of as a nonprofit consultant. Okay. But what I've learned in these past couple of years is representation is so important. And it's so important for young people coming up to know that I can look exactly how I look, or if I want to make some changes and adjust some things, that's fine as well. But if I want to come natural, if I want to come with all of my flaws and things like that, that's not going to stop me from being able to reach my business heights as well, because I can help people that are just like me. If how I come across, isn't your type or you're not able to gain some coaching from that, that's okay. I would prefer for you to gain some coaching from someone who you're more connected to. So it's so important to put all of you in what you do. and bring your value in an inclusive way. Let's see what else we have here, and then we'll jump into your top tips because I can tell this is a hot topic today here. You must have a greater clarity and focus around creating something bigger in the future.
Yeah.
Let's talk about clarity and focus. That was one of the things that you were just kind of mentioning a little bit about is focus. When you were talking a little bit about that client, how focused are you? Sometimes, things come in, and what's the biggest threat to focus? Is distractions.
Distractions. One of the ebooks that we wrote, Time Management for the Entrepreneur, can be taken off track as far as time. What's managing time? Managing time. Yeah. Well, I think I do good with my time. Clarity and focus. To have clarity, you have to first have vision. Is your vision clouded? Is your vision clear? How did you come up with your vision? You almost have to do a 5 why analysis. And those who don't know what 5 why analysis is, it's more of a root cause analysis. Get down to the core of what it is that you're really looking to accomplish in that task. But if you're looking at clarity, right? Clarity, vision, focus, you've got to step back almost 5 degrees, really far back, to really see where it is that, and what is it that you're doing? What's your why? Ask yourself why 5 times. Why am I doing this? Well, why am I doing that? Well, why is that? Why is that? And you get to the core of it all. And when you really get to the core of it all, now you can have clarity of focus. You can't have focus right where you're at. Nobody can. You've got to take a step back and see where it's going. And then once you get that clarity of focus on your vision, now you can prepare to get where you are. Because when you can see where that vision is going, say it's 5 miles down the road, you have to be 5 miles or 5 years down the road, accomplishing what you want to accomplish, and then come back and prepare for it. People miss that so much, and I don't know. If you're not taught, you don't really understand it. But I can have clarity of vision. Now I've got to walk down this path. I've got to meet my clients where they are. I've got to see where that's going. So how can I walk a client down the path I haven't walked down yet? And even if you haven't with that client, you got to sit down and strategically say, okay, where's the vision? Where am I going to take them? Where do I want them to be in 5 years according to their philosophy, their mindset, our culture, the culture that we're growing here? What does it look like? So then when you draw that out and map it out, now I can sit with you and walk you through step by step. Now it's comfortable. You see the vision that you've got in place because you've already done it. If you haven't done that with a client, service-based or product-based or not, because the products have a life cycle. They have ways that you go through it. And in nonprofits, for example, there's a heavy mission, heavy vision based. You've got to prepare the vision ahead of time and then walk them through it. And you're not selling them on the vision. You're letting them experience the vision with you along the way. And then there's going to be hurdles. It's okay. I saw this coming. This is supposed to be. Well, how do you know that, Coach? Because I've done the preparation. The market says this. This says that. There's going to be some things we may not see coming, but that's okay too, because I've planned out enough of this. That clarity of focus within just that little tidbit can bring you so much abundance, because now you're operating in a place of peace and almost constant meditation, because you're flowing in what you just created mentally. You verbally created this whole plan. Go ahead and take them down the road.
And sometimes that takes slowing down. That takes slowing down sometimes. That might take a weekend pause or even longer of a pause. I think that if I just, from the individuals and the entrepreneurs that come to me, the biggest thing that I see is a lot of times you're trying to move too fast. A lot of times and I'm even from my own history as an entrepreneur, there were things where I was like, man, I wish I had done this right the first time. I wish I had went on ahead and started my business with my CRM the first time. All those emails I missed because I didn't have an email system or this, that. And no, nothing is ever going to be perfect. But slowing down and making sure you have a proper plan is so essential, because if you don't have a proper plan, if you don't know where you're going, you don't know what your why is, you could be moving fast, doing busy work, and basically moving in circles, or the worst case, moving in the wrong direction. You think this is because you haven't taken the time to really look at your why. One of the biggest things, abundance wise, financially wise, that I see that people don't slow down and ask themselves is why am I doing this? Am I just doing this for the funds? A lot of times people come into stuff just for, because I think I'll make a lot of money in this. There's so many different ways to make money.
Uh,
There's so many different ways to, and I say if you go into something just for the sheer fact of bringing in money and you're not, that's the only reason that you're tied to it, I would say it's going to be really difficult because for everything that you're doing just for the money, there's somebody who actually get up for this. They love doing this. You don't want to compete with those people. You want to compete with someone else who is passionate about something that you're passionate about as well. So, like you said, that clarity, that focus, that vision is huge. One of the books I'm listening to right now, I'm always listening to some type of audible book. That makes it easier for me to just be able to listen to something while I'm getting ready in the morning. One of the ones I'm listening to is This One Thing, I believe it's called. So I would definitely suggest you guys look into that. I was talking exactly about that flow that Coach Austin was talking about, which is I'm focused on this is the most important thing in my business right now because I can fully see the vision. So even in my business, I'm not doing busy work. I'm doing the most priority work that's going to move that dial at the fastest and most impactful pace. So that's huge. If you don't take the time to do that, the busy work is going to take over. And you're going to look up and you've been running around and haven't gotten nothing done this week, you
right.
know?
Yeah.
So,
Even in chapter 2 of the ebook we have on time management, there's a Eisenhower matrix, and it breaks down priority over necessity. If things come across your desk, have you planned for this to happen? Is it 911? How do you prioritize that time? And if it's not a necessity or a 911 situation, categorize it over here and handle what you had planned in place. Because again, it's your vision, but the world will come in and try to throw you all over the place. And if you don't take time to plan and prioritize what you should be doing when it comes up, that's everything. And that's where the abundance comes in. I'm gonna give 3 little small scenarios of where preparation comes in where people miss it. Stock market, real estate, and say your nonprofit vision. Okay. People often look at GameStop and different stocks that have come out and like, ooh, if I would have known, or how can I get in and how, whatever. Preparation and planning. There are parts of the stock market, if you're a day trader, which none of us are, let's just say, you want to have an entry point and an exit point. Even if you're going long term, this industry may be around for 5 years. So you want to plan on what price do I get in at? And in 5 years, 6 years from now, when do I get out?
mhm.
Real estate's the same way. When do I buy this land? Where do I buy it? What do I build if it's going to be multifamily? Planning and preparation. Don't just throw it anywhere or
Yeah.
do it to make money. That doesn't make sense. But you can do a $300,000 bill on a house in real estate, and you could have profited, sold it for 600, but you were sloppy and sold it for 5
Hmm.
or 450, and you almost broke even. And in the nonprofit space, I can get all these grants to do this at the third, but you're planning and preparing. But at 2 in the morning, at 3 in the morning, when your sleep was waiting for that grant application to come back, you can be like one of our clients and got a $400,000 grant, just being prepared, or
Hmm.
be like some of them trying to shoot darts at a moving target, and you're not prepared. You're not an archer. You haven't taken the time to know how to get that bow in the right place. It's all about preparation and time. So if you
Absolutely.
if you love what you're doing, prepare for it, because you can prepare a couple weeks at a time and hyper shoot yourself to where you're months down the road ahead of the game. You asked the question earlier, how do we know, how did this, how did that? You prepare for it. Right now, I'm in preparation
Mhm.
for, SBA, the PPP programs got shot out till May. So I'm like, okay, it was March 31st. Now they're adding restaurants into it. They're doing a lot. So I'm telling everybody to do nonprofit and for profit. Get yourself prepared now,
Yes.
because the thing about it is too, the recession that's been looming out there, it's coming. It's gonna be there. But if you prepared yourself and you got the money, you can operate, then you're ahead of the game. Then you're better off than trying to struggle and fight for something right now. So
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. We were talking about that a little bit before we came on live with the PPP, how a lot of businesses were not prepared. They maybe didn't have certain paperwork in place or didn't have their bank account in place because they were just rushing and doing things fast. And I've definitely gotten caught into that energy sometimes where you're just trying to get some stuff done. But you can get so much more done if you actually take some time to really have that preparation and that strategic time. Because what could possibly happen is you can realize, oh, wait, Now that I've taken some time and taken a step back, I realized that this process that was going to take me 40 hours to do, it makes more sense to go ahead and hire that accounting company just for their consultation time and let them come in, get all this cleared up, and then let me take care of the small steps from that. Or it makes sense to have this gardener come in and clear all the land for what I'm doing, for what I'm going to be growing, get it all set up, and I could just put the seeds in or whatnot. It would make more sense for me to use my time more in this area because this is the area where I bring in the most value in. And so that's what that preparation step will do. Not to mention energetically, guys, I've seen so many times the same thing that you just said. You're preparing, and as soon as it's fully prepared, boom, someone, their 501c3 comes back. That grant comes in. It's almost like it meets up at that perfect timing because you were prepared. So you're actually bringing stuff in by being prepared. And I know that Clark and Clark has served all different types of faiths and backgrounds. We have all type of people that we serve, but the one thing kind of streams across everyone, which is if you're operating in your vision, if you're doing your part, that we were talking about the faith walk with Michelle Pila a little bit last week, if you guys want to come in and watch that. But if you're doing your part, then everything else starts to kind of fall into place. But you need to focus on your part. And a lot of times we're focused on the wrong things. So like we were saying, when it comes to the PPP, some people weren't prepared and they missed that opportunity. Well, good. That's a great time to say, well, let me be prepared now. Let me get my ducks in a row now. Or if you were prepared and you do qualify, we're going to be talking a little bit more about that later because a lot of you guys have been asking me about PPP and what other services we offer and can I help in that area? Well, guess what? Coach Austin can. He has a video that he just did. There's video again. But he has some information he's going to share a little bit later about that. But we can't hone in enough, guys, that being prepared is the abundance energy because energetically, who would you want to sow into? You want to sow into people who you know are going to take the time, like you said, and not just getting in that low investment. You were talking about the property. That's not my area of expertise, but just selling at a low amount, not getting that full amount back. Because if you get the full amount back or the full, value of that property, should I say, then now you're going to have more inside of your business, your nonprofit, to be able to serve more people. So if as far as God blessing, I would say I would want to bless someone who's going to do right by what I'm giving to them, who's actually taking the time to prepare. So you're opening yourself up to more blessings when you are the person that is a good steward, and when you are good ground, when you are doing the best with the thing, with what you actually have. A lot of times we don't look at that. We look at we want more and more and more. But what's going out the back door? What are you doing with what you have? What are you doing with the time you have? What are you doing with the income that you do have? Are you making the most of that? So that preparation, we don't want to skip over that. I would say that's the number one tip.
That is so profound. The number one tip is so profound. And the thing like with the SBA programs, people feel like they missed out or did I not do round one? What do I get? Do I do PPP, IDL? There's almost 30 major programs within the SBA that you can take advantage of depending on where you live. It's just a matter of sitting down, take a breather. You've got two of the best people, honestly, and I can say this is true, and our networks of people that can get you what you need. I mean, I was floored when my client called and said they got $400,000 grant. I'm like, okay, I wasn't shocked, but I was like, oh, wow, that was fast. SBA, when she said SBA, I'm like, okay, I already knew what it was. I knew what it was because once she was set up with them, again, preparation. And the thing about preparation, I want people to understand, and this is the hard part, I think, with preparation. We do want more of a microwave instant gratification part of it. And if you haven't seen, even if you have seen success, this is for me too. And I've come to this more recently, right? But your money will catch up to your preparation. Your money will catch up to your work. You're not going to get the money right away, and nor should you look for it. So have something that you're doing that takes care of the bills and kind of the daily routine so that stress doesn't bother you, and put in the work for your business. So when you put the work in for it, it'll catch up. The client that we have in Louisiana, right? There's certain work that's being put in that even she hadn't seen. I haven't shared with you yet that the city has so much going on. Build it and it'll come. So it's not a matter of, well, shucks, we need to change what we're doing because we can do so much more.
Yes.
They just had to faithfully put in the work and lay out the foundation. Now we have something to look at, and you can build on top of that.
Absolutely.
It's
You
amazing.
have to sink into that process. Sometimes it's so hard, especially when it's a new process. Actually, just prepare for it to be hard. Prepare for it to be uncomfortable if it's something new that you're doing, if you're not used to building and following your dreams or your passions and going after them, expect it to be uncomfortable. Anything that you're going into new, uncomfortability almost means growth. When you're working out, they say when your muscles get sore, that means you haven't worked that part. So that's great. That's when you need to sink into it.
Some really
Absolutely.
good comments out there. It's really good. And one of the things about foundations, right? Some people have heard or may not have heard of vertical integration. Vertical integration is built on a vertical. I mean, you can't go vertical until you're horizontal or linear until you have a foundation. It's impossible. And you mentioned it's like almost like a scripture reference about being in good soil. So if your soil isn't good, your foundation isn't airtight, like you build a house. If that concrete foundation isn't right, you can't build on top of that. So you can't expect for abundance to come. I'll say again, you can't expect for abundance to come if you don't build for abundance to come. And it takes time to build. You have to prepare and then build and then make sure everything is right. And so you can plan for that vertical or that upward abundance. If you haven't done that, then don't expect it. Don't talk about it. Don't act like you want it, because it's either work or no work.
Hmm.
Abundance, abundance. Victory, no victory. Well, what do you want? Well, faith without works is dead, coach. I have faith, but the works part. Go look at the Greek concordance, right, and see what works means. And it's hard, but if you really love it, I'd rather put in that kind of work for me and the people that God's allowed me to serve than something frivolous, quite frankly.
Boom. Exactly.
That,
Exactly. Where are you investing your time?
yeah,
Where are you investing your time? You know, basically what you're receiving and what you're getting out of life, your abundance, whatever you're attracting, is a direct reflection of where you're investing your time.
it is.
Sometimes people don't want to invest the time. They don't want to do that work. They don't know what that looks like. You know, they say, I want to say it's I forget which one it is. Oh, is it Jeff Bezos? They say they say that he works in the middle of his office where everybody can see him. So like just to show the time that he invests in his passion and I don't know if he still does that or if that was even the right name, but you understand the concept of it, that
True.
it's going to take work a lot of times, especially unfortunately as minorities, we look for shortcuts. And I said it tons of times, and so many times I've had people take me on a shortcut, and I'm like, I promise you this wasn't a shortcut. This took 2 times the amount of times that sometimes those shortcuts can be, the barrier, so and because it's kind of like, okay, how can I do this with the least amount of work? How can I get to the point where I'm just relaxing and doing nothing? Honestly, I will tell you this, that most of the time when you get to the point that you can do that, that's not what we were built to do. We were not, we come alive when I've heard of so many people that actually have retired and passed not too long after that, because they want to be able to provide. It's not about, working hard, it's about working smart. So it's about doing something that you love. And if you're doing something where you're growing people, that's something you want to do for a long period of time. We're made to create, and so absolutely. Yes, we have a couple of more in here. Learn to
Oh,
focus on gratitude in all circumstances. And that's one thing I want to mention. Marika is one of our team members who I am blessed to have on the team.
yeah.
One thing that Coach Austin knows well is we've been building our system as far as our team for some time for the past 6 months. And we are now reaping the benefits of having individuals who are on our team, who are passionate, who are operating in our gifts. We invested in our team. We've gotten training for our team to make sure that we're working and we're flowing in the best ways. All of that is the type of work and the type of systems that you have to put into place. And I'll tell you, this March, our theme has been marching into abundance, and
Mm.
it's for my nonprofits and my businesses. I want them to attract more abundance. I want to talk about some of the things that we've done to attract abundance. But what I didn't see coming was that this would be so far one of our best months of the year as well. And it's because we've been spending this last 6 months building the system so that we can open up and scale and be able to serve people with our best energy, with having those systems into place. So that's so important. What Coach Austin was saying was you have to take that time and be prepared to do the work. If you're not prepared to put the work in, then don't get caught up on that attract an abundance side and all of that portion of it. If you're not prepared to actually make those phone calls, take those action steps, shut down the distractions. Hey, I can't do that right now. I'm sorry. That's a distraction for me right now. I'm sorry. Whatever those things may be, because we've all had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's okay to say no. No is a complete sentence. No
Thank
is
you.
very much so.
Thank you. Say it again.
No is a complete sentence.
No.
And the thing about no is that when people are asking you for something, and people need to hear this one, even on the replay when it comes out. When people are asking you, say me, hey, coach, can you do this for me? I need this, I need that. I'm thinking in my mind, okay, great. Let me see how I can help. I'm also thinking, is there a mutual benefit here, right? Are you asking me for a one-off? And that's fine. I don't mind because I know it'll come back to me. But if people are constantly inundating you for something and there's not some type of mutual benefit, or if they're coming to you for your services and not paying your invoice, premium value that it is for you, you have to be able to say no, because not everybody is for you. I'm not for everybody. I think I can help anybody. And I know for a fact it's you may say that the rates are expensive or this or that, but you can't afford not to work with me. Because like you said earlier, there's so many people coming to you for certain things, and vice versa on my side. I'm throwing a nonprofit at you, certain things at you, to where you can handle things I can't. So it's almost you can't afford not to work with us in that space. But if we have to say no because it doesn't meet our needs, it's not being facetious or sarcastic or anything like that. It's just that no is no. And you might need to prepare yourself better to come back to the table. But I would rather someone at least inquire and say, hey, coach, can you, or how does this work? And then I can give you some direction, and then you go off and do what you got to do. It's how you handle the no and what you do with the no that really makes the benefit for your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would say always look, and you guys hear me say this all the time, but always look to create win-wins. Shout out to one of my mentees who she started off with me when we started off a couple of years ago, and she has a nonprofit now succeeding. But when we started off, she did not have a lot to invest in her nonprofit. And so she came to me and she said, you know what? Is there something I can do? Is there some, and I thought that was an amazing question. She was like, is there something I could do kind of as a trade for? And there was. Most people have, most entrepreneurs, what is that word that they say? The harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. So most of us have tasks that can be done in ways that you can help. That was a great way for her to come. It wasn't just, can you help? And can you just offer me this? It was, here's what I can do. I am willing to, is there something else? Is there some, some type of data entry or something of that nature that you can do? Always think that, and one of the terms that, and I know several people have used this term with me even this week, but one of the terms that just rubs me the wrong way a little bit energetically is, can I pick your brain? And no offense to anybody who said that, but the energy for that, can I pick your brain? Why? Why do you know how long I take to develop this puppy? You must not know the 5:30s, 4:30s that I get up to make sure that the proper things is in there so that I can be able to serve at my highest area and at my most developed. It's so that I can be able to do that. And that leads into one of the most important tips I want to give as well, which is know your value. Yeah. And if you don't know your value, or if you feel like your value is low, start to develop that. Your value is simply a representation of how you've invested your time. So change and start investing your time into things that add to your value. A little story that I'll give is the first biggest business. I started my first business when I was 10. I was doing hair, and I fell in love with business since then. Started just basically analyzing every business that I would go to. But the first big business that I had before I started working with nonprofits is I had a daycare. Most people know that for 10 years. Before I started that daycare, I was working at a daycare and I was making minimum wage. And you know what I did? The thing that changed my whole mind when I opened that daycare business and went from making minimum wage to $2,000-$3,000 a week with my own daycare was I was like, okay, let me see, what am I doing right now? What is my value? I have a class. I have 14 kids in my class. Well, how much do they charge? Let me find out. Oh, they charge this. They charge $225 a week. Okay, I'm pretty much running the whole class, doing everything with them, taking them to lunch. Okay, I'm getting paid minimum wage. Now that I've kind of increased my value a little bit, I think that I would be able to do something like this. And you know what? The thing that kind of knocked it, pushed it way over, and really caused me to jump, because sometimes when one door shuts, another door opens.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to remember that. What happened with this daycare situation, the daycare I was working for at that time, we were supposed to have Christmas bonuses. And with bringing in what they were bringing in and paying their teachers minimum wage, which is fine, they said the day before Christmas, I'm sorry, y'all, we're not doing Christmas bonuses. Like 2 days before Christmas, I'm sorry. We're not doing it last minute like that. And I was like, that's it. I'm starting my daycare in January. And that's exactly what I did. And I took that value that I learned from working from that daycare and how much they were charging. I was like, you know what? My value has went up. It's went up from minimum wage. And now I was able to add the things that I thought were issues in daycare, like the one-on-one time that you were able to give to a child and making sure they're able to learn at their pace, even if it's not, even if it's above what the 4-year-olds are learning, or even if it takes a little bit slower. I was able to add in my own things and create this huge value in that space. So know what your value is. If you're working for someone and you're providing a service, know how much you're bringing into the company. Know what your stories are. Know what information you have that you can elevate people with. That's so important. When you know your value, you're able to bring in more abundance because you know what you bring, and you can lead with that, so
yeah, you definitely lead. And it's funny you even say the word lead. Those with value, when you put in time to create that value, the comment about picking your brain, it rubs me funny because, like you said, you don't know how much time it took for this brain to be where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind you picking it, meaning come with your questions. But people often want to pick your brain, and they're not prepared to pick your brain. They want to pick your brain, and it's like, okay, if you spend an hour with me, what is that worth to you? What will an hour? I know an hour with me will change your life. It changes everybody I talk to, all my clients, when they come to me for whatever they need, and I know I can speak to them because I make sure I'm addressing a need that I can articulate a change to. If you're with me, you spend $500 with me. Let's just say, for example, coach, that's pricey, but aren't you trying to get $1 million business? Are you trying to change the global landscape of what you do? You make 60,000 a year, 70, 80,000 a year, and you want to do that with your business and change that. So 500 isn't worth it. 10,000 isn't worth it. So we have to start thinking. And I say we, the people that are asking these questions, about not what you're spending, is what you're leveraging. If you're leveraging that amount of money to secure the access to our brains, to put you in a trajectory position to do what you want to do plus some, because obviously you can't do it on your own. I can't. I have coaches. I have two coaches and a mentor that I go to for my guidance. So if you can't invest in yourself to say, I'm going to invest this amount of money, just like in the stock market or whatever, in real estate, whatever, and I wanted to leverage myself up 10, 100 times where I couldn't take myself because I know I can't do any better. Why is it even a topic of discussion what it costs? It should just what do I need to do to get from here to there? And I know you can do it. So what is it? Okay, cool. And go. And that's it. So if you want to pick the brain, stop wanting to pick the brain and leverage the brain. Leverage what we have and what you can put on the table and go from there. That's
Absolutely. Being willing to invest in yourself. People have investing in education has been here since the day one almost. People you invest in your college education. But if you have an individual who has done some things in a certain area, you think twice about investing in them when that's what you want to do as well. I think that, investing in yourself is huge, and it's huge for people to hear that you have two coaches. Same here. I have several coaches as well. I've invested. One of the quickest things I'm to do with my company and with my team is if they tell me something and it's an investment for the company, I'm like, get it, go. Yes. If that's going to invest, that's going to make our marketing department better. Great. If that's going to make our organization better, great. Yes, absolutely. And when you are an investor, that opens you up to more abundance as well.
I'll probably spend about $700 in the last couple of weeks on classes for government contracts, another class for LLCs just so I can learn. Again, just learning so that I'm better. And I want to stay so sharp and ahead of the game. I don't want to be waiting for anything. The SBA stuff, it was all free. Everything I'm teaching from the SBA, it was free, but it's because of I was in the minority certification realm. I was in a certain circle where I'm getting SBA webinars before it hits the news. I was knowing about the PPP programs probably a week ahead. Honestly, no, it's about a week ahead. The stuff that
Mm-hmm.
that hit the news about the changes with SBA and all the different things, they had webinars about African American community, Latino, Hispanic, Native American, LGBTQ, youth. There were different seminars about what the SBA was doing for all those different segments of people. But not everybody's in that circle. So I said, okay, well, let me take that information and create a class with it so I can leverage and let the people know what's going on.
Added value. And guess what you're doing? You're
Ready?
adding value to that community. And in return, you're receiving abundance back. So
Oh,
the sooner you learn that flow of value, it almost always goes out before it comes back.
oh gosh,
You
yes.
know, but sometimes people skip that step. They're looking for, wait, what? Over here, this is what I need. This is what I need to sign up for. This is what I need. Now you just got all this stuff piled up on top of you,
Yeah.
but you're not breathing in and out, out and in, I would say. Out, then in. As you add value, everything else, it's a flow to it. So absolutely.
I'm going to add
Um,
a piece to that abundance thing before I forget, and I did make a note of this. When you take in, we have to learn, and this has got to be like pause, take a breather, listen to this one point type thing. You have to learn how to execute what you're learning. You're taking it in, right? So I'm taking in all these things, and how do I use it? How do I make it work for myself? I'm taking it because I want it and I need it, but how do I take it in? Got it. It's down here. I got all this stuff. So how do I execute with it? And a lot of people draw a blank. It's like, oh dang, I don't know. I'm a football player. I've got all these plays and techniques, but where's my trainer to show me how to use it? Where's the coach with the game plan? Where's this? Where's that? And even the SBA with the nonprofit stuff, they're putting money in nonprofits now. So it's like, how do I use and execute what I have in front of me? That's why you need somebody to help teach you
mhm.
who's already doing it and have done it so that you can take it and go. It's so much easier because if not, you're just going to be in a hamster wheel and you're going to spin with heavy knowledge and zero execution, which really you're going to get left behind.
That's it. And there's so much information out here, so many people teaching so many things. And a lot of times, as entrepreneurs and visionaries, we're attracted to this information. So sometimes you can be information overload.
Yeah.
There's a saying that goes, we are drowning in a sea of information, but no, we're swimming in a sea of information, but drowning because of lack of knowledge. So there's so much information out here, just focusing in and honing in. And that's where that intuition comes into play. I am a firm believer in honing and tuning your intuition through meditation, through your spiritual practices, through self care. And then if you feel compelled and you feel like, hey, Coach Austin is the one for me, I know that he's done this, I've done my research, I see some of the value that he's given already. Sorry about that, guys. And those are the angel bells ringing, letting you know that yes, this is it. Or it might be a package coming in. But like I was saying, if you know that Coach Austin is the one, or you know that, okay, I've seen the value that Tracy has brought, and I really feels like she can help me take my nonprofit to another level. I know she's taken other nonprofits to their next level, gotten grant funding for them, things like that. Then one of the biggest keys to implementing that knowledge that Coach Austin was just talking about is focusing. With my coaches, I had to take and say, okay, these are my coaches. Same thing as two. Coach Austin, I don't know what that's funny. Same thing. These are my two individuals. These are who I'm listening to on this matter. Because for me, actually the marketing piece of it is an area that we've always been growing. That's not my organic natural giftings. That's the area of growth. You're always going to have your organic natural giftings and the areas you need help with, you need to build your team around, you need to figure out how they work. So I said, I'm going to, even though this is all great information for everybody else, I need to get the most out of this program. How many people have come into your program, Coach Austin, and then been distracted,
Oh
even
God.
after they made that investment?
Every
But
there's
so much
there's
going
not
on, they can't focus on what, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. There's not one that has come again. And shucks, I get distracted with the
Mhm.
clients. So I'm not perfect in that area at all. I can teach it because I'm so on it. If I'm not focused, than the clients coming in that are definitely distracted and focused, who don't know how to stay focused, are worse off. And they're like 10 times worse than me. And the reason why is because everybody gets distracted. But if you don't know, there's a young lady, I think, that put a comment about writing things up. I have certain things up that remind me. My watch, my phone is on a certain clock that gives me a certain reminder to reset, focus, breathe, music, nap time, eating, prayer time. It's in my calendar, and it'll just pop up just as a cognitive reminder to get me on a system. So everybody, me included.
I love that. I love that. And you have to know how you're going to, that's a plan to overcome the distractions before they even come. That's the important part, to already have a plan, already have those reminders, adding your personal care in there with everything else, because it's just as important. If you continue to borrow from your self-care for your business, or borrow from not really focusing on your self-development for all your self-care, if you continue to be unbalanced in those areas, one day one of them is going to knock on the door like, hey, you haven't been taking care of me, whether that's your body, whether that's your business and your development, whether that's your, so having that balance is huge, and putting it right up there, just like you would put anything else in a meeting with an important client, that I need to pause at this time. I need to make sure that I'm focused at this time. I have a fun list on Trello. Like I have, this is the things to do fun. Go to this list. You need some fun right now. So go here, do your Zumba workout video, do your, because all of those things balance me, and all those things make me a better service to my clients.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. I've got to get my morning routine. I have to change it a lot. My workouts used to be in the afternoon, but there's so much buying for my time in the afternoon. I can relax in the afternoon, but I've got to get up at probably 4:30, 5 o'clock, hit the gym for a couple hours, right? Get myself ready for the day. And then when my day goes, I'm okay. So I've got to reset a few things. So I've had to mentally prepare a whole week before I did it. Because I just know me and I know how things go. So I'm like, okay. So the same thing I'm telling my clients to do, I'm doing it for myself in my own way.
And that's important. Important. Yeah. As we continue to, we're always developing. If someone feels like they got it on every level, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to somebody else who let me talk to somebody who is talking my talk, and we understand, and speaking authentically, ultimately, because I feel like every moment that I'm here on this earth, I'm continuing to develop, and I'm open to growth. And that to me allows me to be able to receive as well. That's important as well. Wait a minute. Am I doing one question I always like to ask myself is, number one, what's my part in this? What's my part in whatever the situation is? Wait, do I have something to learn from here? What can I learn from this situation? Maybe because I feel like everything happens for a reason. The other thing is, how am I overthinking this? How am I overthinking this? How can I make this smoother, easier? What's something I can do to make this whole process easier? So that self-reflection is so important. We'll read a couple of more of these comments, and then I want you to tell us more about what you're offering with the PPP, because that's huge. A lot of my clients are actually looking for that. Okay. Marika said, I had to learn to create exponential growth rather than linear growth. Yes. Be passionate about your gift. Passion is transference of faith. Faith in what gift your organization brings to the solution your mission addresses, a prerequisite to set you apart. That's deep. Yeah. Absolutely. Be passionate about your gift. And not to mention, people are watching all these different things on video, on the social media sites and things like that. Your passion is what creates the juice and the, adding all of those unique quirks and things like that. That's so important. Your passion makes you not boring. That's what I'll say. Sure. Absolutely. Yes. And I was saying that priorities and preparation, keep your goals and dreams up in front. I love that. One of my biggest things for water, guys, I feel like, 80% of your body is water. And for me, one of my big things I've been doing is drinking a gallon of water. But what I'll do is exactly what Nana was saying there. That's my hubby's mom, is that keeping it, I'll have it right here. If this is my desk, my water is right there, so I can, out of sight, out of mind, insight in mind. So that's huge. Busy does not always mean productive. Can we say that again?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Yes, Colleen, we have to learn that there are some things that we need help doing, and not to try to do everything. Absolutely. Center yourself around great mentors such as these two people. Thank you, Colleen.
Yes,
I appreciate that. Absolutely. And we are doing the same.
yeah,
Like we talked about, we're centering ourselves around people who can pour into us and who makes us better as well.
yeah,
Everything is energy. That's huge.
yeah,
Money is energy, guys. Remember that in order for you to get funded, in order for you to get the stimulus that's coming, in order for you to sign up for the PPP and get PPP fundings, in order for you to get grant funding, or in order for an individual to pay you for your services,
yeah,
these all come through an individual person making that decision. It's not money is simply energy that is only ignited by people. So
mm,
when you understand people and when you understand the value that you bring and who you serve and that you're serving of your greatest altitude, then you'll naturally start to attract that money energy because everything is energy. Absolutely. Pauline said opportunities like this to network with other people are great opportunities. You will also always learn something. You never know what other people may know. Opportunity is huge. Seeing opportunity, like Coach Austin was talking about in the pandemic, he saw in advance what was going on. Okay, I see what's going on here. I see where this problem can be. How can this be an opportunity? How can I be a solution to this problem that's coming down the line? How can I see this as an opportunity for me to be able to service some other individuals, thus grow my business at
yeah,
the same time? Yes, know your value, and set your clocks ahead. Thank you. I
yeah.
appreciate that. Money follows mission. All right, guys. So, like I said, Coach Austin has a particular video that he did on PPP, how to understand it, and not just the PPP, but all of the other funding opportunities around that. Tell us a little bit more about that, Coach Austin.
Yeah, the demand was getting pretty high on just one-on-one. People just inundated us with DMs, and I was posting. If you're not on my Instagram, please go and follow it just so that you know what's going on. And if you scroll through, gosh, the last 10 rows, you'll see a ton on SBA, on the PPP program, and how things are evolving. I even did a few Instagram lives where I was actually letting you guys watch the seminars that the Small Business Administration was putting out in real time. And I put together a class, and I had like a dozen people, come into it, and I recorded it, and the replay is $100 just to get it out. So send me a message. I'm setting up a link for it on the site because again, it's 2.5 hour video. So it's easier to send it out in an email than it is for sometimes to download it from the site.
Mhm.
So I say, whoever's here, put it in message and send me a message. Hey, coach, let me get the PPP replay. And I'll just shoot it out to you. And just Zelle or PayPal, we've already got all the instructions there for it. It's really easy. I'm trying to see if the website will let me hold it and you can download it from there. I'm
Hmm.
trying to get that to work. It should be able to. Zoom is real funny with links and websites. I don't know why, but we did a class. It was 2.5 hours long, and I just walked you through the entire SBA website on the funding, what it looked like, what PPP really is, and just real short. If you have employees, if you file your taxes 2019, and even as a solopreneur, even if it's just you can still apply, but you need the taxes.
Mhm.
If you haven't filed taxes, listen, if you haven't filed taxes, your CPA, your accountant can get you that Schedule C or Schedule K, but they're going off of line 7 on that Schedule C, which is your
Mhm.
gross revenue, not the net revenue, which is good, which is really good. So if you may say 100,000 gross revenue divided by 12 times 2.5, that's the calculation.
Mhm.
You can't put the first number in, and PPP is not for you.
Mhm.
But you've got EIDL, which is Economic Disaster Relief Loan, right? I mean, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, sorry. I'm saying myself in FEMA. But that's out there, and there's a ton of programs outside of PPP and EIDL. There's a lot of other SBA programs that are out there. And I said this earlier, one of our clients got a $400,000 grant to build a hair and makeup manufacturing facility right there in Florida. And
Hmm.
how did she get it? She was prepared. She hired us to be her, strategist, and we got her all her minority certifications and things of that nature. It wasn't expensive, but she don't care what she spent. She just got a $400,000 grant, plus a grant from PayPal, plus her SBA, plus her PPP and her EIDLs. So
Wow.
she was able to take advantage of a little bit of everything, and now she's got a heck of a grant. And there's more to come with that. So it definitely is preparation, but send me a message that, hey, coach, I want the replay for the SBA class, and I'll walk you all through it. We all would also do some one-on-ones or some smaller group settings for nonprofits that want to get involved with the SBA. So if you want PPP or whatever, we can walk you through it. The forgiveness applications we have, the correct applications, we know how to get them. I'll walk you through the site, the things that aren't taught, and it's not out there, so you have to know where it's at. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's part of preparation, is knowing where your resources are. I'm looking for, here it is right here. 1 million Black women. I believe it's Goldman Sachs is actually about to invest $12 million to initiatives that build Black women. They feel like that's one of the least in the pools as far as what they're making compared to the highest, which is white men. And so right now, what they're doing is they're giving to that area. They're creating grants for nonprofits. They're going to be creating some things for just initiatives, period, in that area. So that's what they're preparing for, is to give these funds. If you happen to fall into that category, you would need to qualify and make sure you're prepared, whatever you're doing for the community as a nonprofit, or your services. If you're a business, you want to make sure you prepare and you qualify for those types of things. So that's why preparation is huge, because as people are, the great thing about it is even big business is waking up right now, and almost all big business has done something for an area of the community, whether it be minorities or nonprofits. Everywhere, everyone is seeing that they need to give back and they need to help to be able to get us through everything that's going on with this pandemic. So if you know that you have an area that you can help in, make sure that you're prepared to and qualify, and you have everything needed to be able to get those services, to be able to apply for those grants. You have your 501c3, you have your LLC, your incorporated EIN, all of those things. If you need in the nonprofit area, if you need help in preparation, you can go over to our website, make sure you're on our mailing list, and you will get a checklist that will get you started in the nonprofit area. If you need a coach, you have a nonprofit already, and you're like, I just need a coach, I need someone to hold my hand and walk me through this, reach out to us as well. We can help you and we can coach you in that area. It's so much easier to do things when you hold someone's hand. And that's the first thing that I do in any area that I'm not gifted in. I'm like, where's somebody? Who's my best player? That's what I always say. Yeah. And I'll tell you in a minute, no, I'm sorry, you're not the best player for that. We had a little surprise in our little quarantine bubble. We had a little surprise party, so to speak, for the little one. It was his birthday this last week. And I was like, I need to text somebody to be responsible for getting the text on time so they can know we're pulling up or whatnot. And I picked the person who has their phone all the time. I'm like, you're the one. I know that you're going to get the text. I know you're going to respond. You're the man for the job, woman in that case. So you always want to make sure that you put your best player and you put people around you that if you don't know it, that they can help you with it. So definitely coaches invest in themselves, making sure you guys are ones that invest in yourselves as well. That's the biggest tip I will leave you with. There is a quote that we talked about before we started this, Coach Austin. And since I always mess up quotes, I'll see if you remember. When opportunity meets preparation.
Preparation always wins.
That's it. That's basically the recipe for success. When opportunity meets preparation. Yeah. So the opportunities are coming all the time, but you have to be prepared for those opportunities as well.
Yes. Hey, can you put in my Instagram at the bottom?
Yes, we'll throw that Thank you. Absolutely. Coach Austin's Instagram will be posted on the video as well, guys, and we'll actually pop it. Go ahead and tell it right now as well, Coach Austin, so I can.
Yeah, so for Facebook, it's Austin Business Coaching, just plain, at Austin Business Coaching. And for Instagram, you just add the underscore. So it's @_ Austin Business Coaching. Yeah. So most of everything I post on Instagram directly feeds to Facebook as well. So if you're doing Austin Business Coaching, I think even it'll pop up my name, John. But Austin Business Coaching for Facebook, and then underscore, @_ Austin Business Coaching for Instagram. I'm on Instagram more, just easy to feed. But I'm noticing it's helping me feed directly to Facebook. And I've got a private Facebook group as well that I'm putting out. So that can hop on my website, just like with Tracy, get on the mailing list. I do send a lot of things out through email. I don't blow up your email address, but if there's updates, that things you just can't post on social media, I am sending out almost a weekly email. They're not, as often as the things come about, with links to PPP, links to SBA. Sometimes you maybe couldn't afford to, or just need to get something right away. I'll send those out. I'll send out as much as possible. So definitely get on my email list.
Absolutely. And we'll have all his links posted, guys, as well. So if you're watching from YouTube, you can go into the description. If you're watching from Facebook, we'll be posting that in the comments here as soon as we get off of here. Guys, if you're watching this via recording and you have some things that has caused you some abundance, we're all growing and learning together. It doesn't matter how big, how small, add them in here as well so that we can all come back to this and get different tips and things like that as we're bringing in that abundance energy. Like Coach Austin said with setting his reminders, we all need to be reminded. So to be able to come back to a video and see all these different things and us all to continue to attract this abundant energy. As we bring more in, we can do more for the community. We can provide more in services. So that's going to make it even more better for the communities we serve, guys. Remember that if you add value, funding follows. If you add value, funding follows. If you add value, funding follows. So focus on the value you're adding, guys. We will see you all next week. Next Saturday, I'll be live. I'll also be coming on giving some more grant updates because it went so well last week in our group. If you're not a part of that, take a look at our website. But in our group on Facebook, I'll be providing some grant updates. We have a huge, massive list of grant updates coming up this week, Wednesday as well, guys. All right. Thank you so much, Coach Austin, for joining us. Even being out of town on vacation, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Only Tracy can pull me out of
I appreciate it. Yes.
Love it.
Awesome. All right, guys. We will see you on next Saturday.
Yes.